Hey everyone, it's Timid. I'm back with another episode of my Road to 1K series, and today we are going to be taking on this tier 3 fog match on Quota Iota versus Capper 96. As you can see here, I'm playing Sonja. The reason I picked Sonja was... Wow, it was a very stupid reason. But this one... This match is going to basically show a lot of the issues with the Sonja Kindle matchup, potentially here. A lot of the issues with that matchup. When I was picking COs for this map, I thought this was a single comm tower map, and it ended up being 2 comm tower. So that's that's mistake number 1, and the reason why that's super bad for Sonja. I'm just going to go ahead and get into it from here. The reason why that's super bad for Sonja is because of wall breaking, guaranteed wall breaking. So, any other CO, basically any other CO, everyone except for like Flak and Jugger has a guaranteed 2-hit KO when they have 20% firepower. And that's what if you're doing like, this is what I call wall breaking. It's if you have the same type of unit attacking into that unit on the city, they can break through it if you have 2 of them and 20% firepower. So this works for infantry, tanks, medium tanks, neo tanks, I think mechs. But yeah, it's because you have 46 at the tail end, and then if you're down to 6 HP, it's 54. So 46 plus 54 equals 100, so that's a guaranteed kill. Now, even with like 1 comm tower, it's still relatively likely that you'll be able to wall break. Anyways, oh wait, but I messed up the damage here. There's still a chance that you will, but it's more of a coin flip. But if you have 20% firepower, you just break through, no problems. However, for units with bad luck, this is no longer a guarantee. Now for Flak and Jugger, because they have good luck as well, this sort of rounds up. So they still have a very, very, very high chance of knocking you off of the city if they have at least 20% firepower. Sonja only has bad luck though, so yeah, it's no, it just doesn't work. It's not even remotely guaranteed. Even like in fact, even if she gets the first roll super badly, she can't 2-shot at all. 36 plus 54 is, so let's say like the lowest plus the highest, that's like 90. So 0 chances that you kill there. So yeah, if you're playing Sonja, you cannot let your opponent ever get 2 comm towers because they'll just sweep you, and you can't sweep in return. Even with like 3 comm towers, it's still not guaranteed. It's a lot more likely. 4351 is 94, so you only need like 6% non-bad luck in order to 2-shot. But even with like 3 comm towers, that's not necessarily gonna happen. So that's like either 2 comm towers or comm tower plus power plus CO power. And that's the main issue with picking Sonja on a larger map like this. Well, a 2 comm tower map like this. The other issue, not for that page. The other issue is that there are 2 airports, and par for this map, which is basically the amount of income. The total amount of income divided by 2 is par, so it's when you are evenly matched with your opponent, it's just the amount of funds that you'll have. it's 23k per player, which is more than enough to get 2 battlecopters plus 3 infantry a turn. So you can definitely spam battlecopters. Now, why is this bad for Sonja? Well, Sonja relies very, very heavily on medium tanks. Because what she does with medium tanks is she can use that to bully her way through regular tanks. And then the idea is your opponent isn't going to be building that many medium tanks. So the way that Sonja works is she has an extra 50% counterattack damage. This works very, very well for her when it's just a one-on-one fight. So let's say something like this. 1-1, she's on a city. This guy is on points, right? So it's basically breaking even. After that first attack, though, the counterattack damage becomes like nothing anyways. So Sonja relies very, very, very heavily on not being outnumbered by her opponent, or even just not having her opponent have, even if you don't get outnumbered by your opponent, having limiting her opponent to only being able to attack like 1 or 2 times into cities, which is very difficult to set up, but you can sometimes do it on smaller maps or even larger maps to some extent, depending on how much income is in play. The issue with the high income and the 2 airports, especially on this map, though, is it means that your opponent's going to have a lot more battlecopters, which means, and this is especially relevant for tank engagements, right? So your opponent can just open up with the battlecopter, and then they can finish off with the tank. Like that. And they don't really have to worry about Sonja's counterattack damage at all, due to battlecopters. Now, on a 1 airport map, this is a little bit less bad for Sonja, because she can basically zone out her opponent's small number of battlecopters by just having an anti-air or 2. But when you're able to spam battlecopters a little bit more easily, that makes Sonja's tanks a lot more exposed. And they're already sort of exposed because just having a tank there means that, like, your opponent can move in pretty quickly. But if you're basically even matched, it's something you can get around with. And because she has the extra vision in fog, she can get around that a little bit more easily. So it's sort of an even match on that. But to be honest, like, Sonja, the issue with Sonja that I find is I feel like she outclasses basically everyone in tier 4. I say basically everyone. No, I think it's everyone in tier 4. She just outclasses everyone in tier 4. Even though they have most of them have extra like firepower bonuses, so they can wall break pretty easily. But the issue is, she can see them coming, and she can deal with them as it relatively efficiently by getting first strikes and stuff like that, and just knowing where they are and out positioning them. The issue comes for her in tier 3 against maybe everyone except Flash. But the issue becomes Andy, Drake, Kindle, and Rachel all have super good CO powers or super CO powers. So they can just basically continually pop those, and then they'll just slowly whittle down Sonja until she can't really do anything anymore. So if she ever needs to get a really good foothold to start out with, which means getting in, basically taking over the entire map before her opponent gets there, which on larger maps like this isn't really going to happen, because you're not going to have the resources to spread out everywhere. On a smaller map, you can do it a little bit, because when you're just having those first couple of tanks moving in, you can basically just block off cities and stuff, and then your opponent can't really attack into you. But on a larger map like this, you're a bit more spread out, and it's a lot easier for your opponent to just run over you, especially your infantry. Your infantry are very, very exposed to Sonja. Anyways. So yeah, Sonja doesn't really like... Sonja is like almost tier 4 plus, which is very similar to how Kindle is. Because I feel like Kindle is almost a tier 3 plus as well. Because she's obviously outclassed by Eagle, Max, and Olaf. like you'll always, either on a small map you pick Max, maybe Eagle, on a large map you pick Olaf, and then they just dominate Kindle. But in tier 3, she's basically tier 3 plus. I feel like she usually has an advantage unless the map is super big, and then Drake starts to see dividends from his superpower. And Andy can fight with her a bit as well. Rachel can as well, to an extent. But I feel like Kindle is just easy mode almost in tier 3 which is why it's very good for you to pick her. By the way, if you're playing in tier 3, usually you want to pick Kindle. Because of that insane firepower bonus she gets on cities, and then her income drain as well is super crazy. I'll go into that a little bit more in the replay to keep things a bit more simplified here. As well as some other issues that Sonja has with her superpower. I think that's about it that I wanted to cover straight up. Oh yeah, and there's also the black boats, which I may or may not have mismanaged them a little bit. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with a replay. Now, starting out here, we're obviously doing basic infantry builds. I believe we basically have the same movement to start out with. We're going for stuff pretty close by, and then moving on. See stuff a little bit further out. He moves his black boat out a bit earlier, and thank you, 503. Yeah, this is what we both did this thing, which was we went for. Oh, interesting. Okay. So it looks like he took the infantry from this base and sent it back to the airport, whereas I took an infantry from this base and sent it back to this city. It's basically the same effect, but I think it's going to end up meaning that he's going to have a bit more presence in this area to start out with. Okay. So that's an interesting thing. And that's good for him because of the black boat. Actually, okay, he didn't even keep them around. See, that's not the best idea, because instead of doing, well, I guess if you want the infantry over here a bit more aggressively. So I'm not exactly sure what he's doing. But you can definitely chain properties here to have only like one infantry take care of these while you send your other infantry out to these further relying out properties to capture them very quickly. So as you can see there, you can chain off of there as well. I think... No, I don't think he's got anything in there yet. No, okay. Cool. But yeah, the fun thing about Kindle is as soon as she gets her infantry on a city, they basically have the city. But if she doesn't have an infantry on the city, since she only has firepower on the cities, you can basically cock block her a little bit by just having the infantry moving on to the cities. Okay, so as you can see here, she's like a turn or so earlier with her infantry moving out through the black boat, which is going to come into play a bit here. Okay. Yeah, I definitely should have had my infantry at the ready to start moving in with the black boat last turn. I definitely should have had them had the black boat moved this turn, because then I would have been able to move these two all the way up here and start dealing with this stuff a bit. Because this is going to, since I didn't do that, this is allowing her to have free reign in this area. Okay, yeah, and then she's going for this infantry because she thought it was exposed, but it's not. So I'm going to be able to take that recon out pretty easily here. Unfortunately for me, she has the battlecopter here, so me going into the forest here, while it was an okay idea in principle, it's not that great of an idea, because it's within 2 turns of this airport. So if my opponent had built a battlecopter here, which if they did, they'd be able to guard this pretty easily. And the other issue is this guy can't make it to the forest this turn, so I can't really guard it with my anti-air. Which is why I probably should have attacked from this side because, well, one, it's out of range of the battle copter. Two, it's... well, to be fair, so I was worried mainly about any tanks that you might have in the area. But because instead of doing it like this, what I should have done... Well, see, this is getting into weird territory, right? Because, okay, tanks can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So either way, this forest is within 2 turns of both of these production facilities, whereas 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I had attacked from like this tile, I wouldn't be having any issues here. And then I can move in my anti-air and would be able to guard here pretty easily. So my basic build order is basically always going to be tank, anti-air, and then 2 recons. Because you'll basically almost always have enough money for that right off the bat. And the good thing about recons is you can basically substitute a tank plus an infantry for 2 recons. And usually you don't really need the recons as heavily to start out with. So what I like to do is I do get the tanks in early as the front lines, and then I follow it up with the recons for vision. And this is especially true when you're fighting someone like Kindle. Like normally you'd be able to just use the recons to harry infantry like this. Well, actually that's not even true. Scratch that. Because when you attack with recons into a city, you're basically giving up the recon. So long as there's a tank in range. If there's no tank in range, you're good. But if there's a tank in range, they'll basically 100% of the time kill the recon in response. Especially on a map like this where you're basically guaranteed that 1 comm tower. If you didn't have any guaranteed, if your opponent doesn't have guaranteed firepower, it's maybe a bit of a toss-up, but you're taking the counterattack damage from the infantry, which is only like 1 or 2%, but that might be enough in combination with the tank attacking onto usually like a plains or a road or something like that to just finish off the recon pretty easily. But yeah, this was definitely very, very, very bad positioning from me here. What I should have done was attack with the tank from there, and then... well, I don't know if I attack with the tank from there. I attack with the tank from here, and then I attack with the tank from there, and then they're a little bit spread out, but... that way I can have the okay, the reason I would want the tank to attack from here is so that it's closer to the anti-air, so I'm covering both tanks with my 1 anti-air now. I don't think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. I don't think these tiles are really in range of the airports, but whatever. So if I finally get this guy up to start ferrying the infantry over, I definitely should have moved it in like forever ago. Because it's not like I was going to do much on the HQ. The HQ isn't really at play in this map. The issue here that I'm running into on the left here is she's got tanks, and I don't have anything really to counter that with. So she's able to have free room with my infantry here. Now, I built the medium tank here. What I might have wanted to do instead was go for the tank, because I would be able to counterattack. I would be able to get into this city in 2 turns with the tank, whereas it'll take 3 with the medium tank. But the other thing is she has like 2 tanks in this area, so I'm not sure whether that makes sense or not. And then the medium tank I wanted just to basically completely take control of this area. So instead of a medium tank, because I had 18k this turn, I could have gotten tank, infantry, and the next turn I could have gotten the medium tank. Plus infantry. And that would have probably been a little bit better, because for one, it would allow me to get to this area a bit quickly with the tanks. And then I would be outnumbering him in tanks in this area. And then we just follow up with the medium tank, because Sonja medium tanks are good and you'll end up needing the firepower eventually. So I think 2 tanks would have been better here. Maybe an anti-air as well before the medium tank. But the medium tank will do work here, so it's not like that bad of a play. It's just maybe not the most optimal idea ever. The other thing is, so you got tank into tank like this, right? So you're taking a little bit of chip damage, and the issue with that is, let's say he survives at 6, you're down to 8. You're not doing all that much on the counterattack anyway. So the weird thing with Sonja is a lot of the time, and then this is 10, right? So that's 51. Okay, that's not as bad then. Wait, no. I wanted, so it's still like 8. So even just getting you down to 8 HP, it does cut into your counterattack damage a lot as Sonja. So you're not nearly as invincible as you might have thought you were. But obviously you can follow up with other tank attacks there at that point. And this is for uncaptured cities. If this were a captured city, this would be a little bit better, because you go down to like 4, but then you repair up to 6. So then you have something like 7 plus 5. Maybe if he attacks with this one too, you're down to like 1 HP, but you still survive, you come back to 3. And then you have other tanks in the back to help chain a little bit. But yeah, the bad luck is really, really bad for Sonja. Because anyone else with just the single comm tower, like, they don't have a chance of going down to 4 damage only, but Sonja does. Sonja does, which is just annoying as hell. So the fun thing about this is the counterattack damage ends up being about as much. Well, I don't know. I think you almost always want to attack anyways, because you're getting the first strike, so that's going to give you initiative and such. Yeah. Interesting that he went for the artillery there, but I guess that was more of a happy accident for him, because he ran out of the funds last turn, so he wasn't able to get free tanks. It's not like he was able to see my medium tank, so. And it's just V1 artillery as well, which isn't all that good against like medium tanks by itself. But as you can see here, my opponent's already got a ton of income because they did the stuff here with the black boat earlier, so they have more of a free reign in this area with their infantry. And because I misplaced my tank there, I don't have much of a presence here at all anymore. So yeah, what I should have done was just take these 2 tanks, send them this way, and then have 2 tanks, probably a medium tank that I'll send this way, because I was seeing battlecopters in this area, and you don't really want to send your medium tanks towards the battlecopters, because they'll just get torn up. But yeah, luckily they just lose their battlecopter for free basically there, because they trap them against my infantry. Because I think they moved that infantry into the forest later, yeah. Wait, no. Yeah, they moved it last, unfortunately for them. Because they could have interrupted this cap, and then moved this guy into the forest first, but. So that was a small mistake by my opponent there. But as you can see there goes the recon. I figure as the infantry, like, no issues for my opponent there. And they opened with the infantry hit there, but they probably could have just opened with the tank, and then they would have had a healthy infantry there. Could have easily just said that instead. I do get lucky and take out that tank in one shot, which is good for me. And then I was considering this engagement, but the issue with that is it looks something like this, which is overall a losing battle. Like, I mean, to be fair, if I had gotten lucky, because, okay, the 6 HP into, not necessarily with the shoal. Like, that's not that bad. But, like, if I had gotten the 3, then that would have been insanely bad. So I probably should have attacked there, actually, just to keep momentum going, because it's not like this guy would have healed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, that would have been better. That would have been way better, actually. Because that would have put pressure on this guy. And then that would have made it so that I believe he's got the recon here. You can see most of this stuff. He's able to take out, like I was saying earlier, there's the battlecopter into the tank attack like that, which he was able to do pretty easily. And then he lost the tank, and then there's the tank into tank. Now, if this guy had been damaged, he wouldn't have been able to do it like that, and I would have been in a better position, I think, overall. And of course, I don't finish off that guy, which sucks. But what are you gonna do? So I take out the recon, which I don't know if that was the best move because it's in range of this tank, which I can see. It's in range of this battlecopter, which I can see. If a battlecopter being the more threatening one, because they can just attack with battlecopter and then they don't really care about the first strike from the tank anymore. Well, they care a little bit, but in a sense, it's weird. But as you can see here, lots of battlecopter spam here from my opponent, and it's stuff that I can't really deal with effectively. And they're able to do it because they have a lot of extra income right now, and they're going to be able to just keep on running away with it for a little while. As you can see here, they have the infantry can, and this was a really good turn for me, because I basically just swarmed her in this area and killed all her infantry. Took out that battlecopter and then this tank as well. And then I sort of fell back a little bit. So this was a really good turn for me. Maybe attacking that infantry wasn't the best idea for World, because it's basically getting rid of the recon for nothing. I take off that infantry there as well, which is pretty good. And as you can see here, 32 to 21. So that was a phenomenal turn for me. The unfortunate thing is she's going to be able to come back pretty easily. So this is where Kindle starts snowballing with the Urban Blight. She gets enough extra firepower from that engagement to finish off the anti-air in one hit. I believe it's a roll if you don't have that. So that's why she popped that. That was one of the main reasons she popped that. Also, she can basically double tap next turn with it. And it drains my funds a lot. As you can see here, 14,000 is all that I get because of all the repairs. And sure, I'm repairing this tank as well a little bit. But like, it costs you so much money when that happens. This guy was at 1 health anyways, so it doesn't matter as far as the funds drain is concerned, but because I was going to be paying that much anyways, and this sort of breaks even. But again, like 14,000 out of my 20, and she's got 5 extra K per day, so this is going to end up becoming a bit of a stalemate if I can't take any territory here, which she's going to be able to stop me from taking any territory because she has an extra Urban Void here. So that's the main issue with fighting against Kindle is if she gets in a foothold, she just overwhelms you. Now, what I should have done was have my infantry here a bit earlier, and then just not throw my tank out here for no reason, for nothing, and have my anti-air and stuff ready to go. And then I would have been able to take these two properties probably. We'd be fighting over this one, maybe. So it would have been a little bit more close. But as you can see here, that unit value gap is going to be insane for me. And I didn't realize it was this bad for this long. And I was still running on a high from that last crazy good unit count turn. But, like, from this point on, she just slowly yet steadily overwhelms me. So, freaking 503s. Anyways. So, like, I keep on pushing, trying to take territory. But the issue is she just has too many units in the back, too many vehicles specifically in the back for me to deal with. I have a lot of units, but most of them are infantry. So that's the issue. Is I'm not able to actually provide enough of a window for my infantry to actually cap stuff without taking massive damage from her vehicles and such. So as you can see, she gets a number of powers anyways, which is great. That's such a dumb thing about playing against Kindle is she can just overwhelm you so freaking easily by doing this. And then obviously I shouldn't have been picking Sonja anyways on a 2-com tower map like this. 2-com tower, 2 airport especially. But whatever. Mistakes were most definitely made. Yeah, so as you can see here, the unit count's basically stabilized, and because she's got... Now, I did take a property here. So I took this property. I'm about to take this one. So it's gonna be... We're gonna be basically tied as far as income goes, but because... like, the thing about Sonja is she needs a bit of an advantage in order to actually... take the Urban Blights, take the Drake or Rachel superpowers, and then be able to take that and keep on pushing. The way she's supposed to work is she's supposed to get an early foothold, like Kindle did in this one, and then just hold the line. And then she can slowly overwhelm her opponent by just having a income advantage, potentially a firepower advantage. But on a larger map like this, that's tougher for her to do, and with lots of battlecopters, that's harder for her to do. And on a 2-com tower map where she needs to be fighting over control of both of these com towers, that's also really hard to do. Because on a single com tower map, all she has to do is hold one com tower, and then her opponent can't wall break her. But if it's a 2-com tower map like this, she needs to hold on to both of the contested com towers. Or at least deny her opponent both of the contested com towers, and that's a lot more difficult to do. Yeah, as you see, I keep on making stupid pushes in here as well, but I don't think it really mattered, because if I didn't make these pushes, she would just build up unit count anyways, and then kill me anyways. Because I'm not going to be... The other thing that's really annoying about Kindle is Urban Blights they deal 3 damage. So they outpace your repairs. So you don't really want to be sitting on cities ever. But the issue with that is cities are really good defensively. So as you can see here, I did manage to keep my battlecopter there alive. So I had the superpower up, but like there's another Urban Blight. I do have that unit count advantage still, but it's mainly infantry. So that's the issue. Is my opponent's got 2 medium tanks out. They've got like 5 or 6, 7 tanks out. And then all that I have on the field is like a couple medium tanks. Well, I guess the medium tanks are basically matching. But she has so many extra tanks. So many extra tanks compared to me at this point. And she can afford to keep on popping those or battlecopters or whatever she wants. Whereas I need to sort of diversify. I'm struggling to be able to get just like tanks and stuff. Although I have evened up the income at this point. So maybe had I just held back a little bit, I could have... I might have been fine because I would have had 2 medium tanks, 3 medium tanks maybe. Because the medium tanks you definitely want when your opponent's spamming tanks like this. But the issue is, once your opponent starts rolling out multiple medium tanks as Sonja, you kind of lose the advantage a bit. Because like I said earlier, as I showed earlier, Sonja can take one-on-ones pretty efficiently, pretty easily. But if it's more than a one-on-one, it's kind of hard for it to work for her. So. Yeah, and as you can see, just continually making stuff happen here. More medium tanks and stuff. She pops her power, blah, 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 blah. This goes on for a couple more turns, but as you can see, I think I'm just going to skip turns at this point. So she pops Urban Blight again. So as you can see, just pay attention to these numbers here, right? So 109, 133, 108, 129, 146. So as you can see, I still have the unit count for a little bit, but at the end of a turn, it's sort of just keeping at that gap. And then she starts just pummeling me at some point once she gets to a high enough unit count. So as you can see here, she's finally made it to where she has the unit count advantage. And I'm struggling to keep a hold of it, but I'm slowly not being able to do enough damage here, and then she's starting to whittle me down. And then this was where I resigned, so I just went YOLO with my bomber, so I was in range of the anti-air, and I just resigned. Now, what's crazy is my opponent built a fighter that last turn, too. So, I think it's just that they ran out of things to build. They have like a billion anti-air, a billion tanks, a billion medium tanks. They're going, okay, what's the only thing that if my opponent built, that would be an issue for me? Okay, if they built a bomber, maybe that could be annoying, even though they already have like a bunch of anti-air. Plus, they have to deal with my battlecopters here. So battlecopter spam, you can also deal with a fighter, especially if you can afford it. So they just went from a fighter anyways. Yeah, I think I've already gone over what my mistakes were. Main mistake was picking Sonja on a two comm tower, 2 airport map. But I think this was potentially salvageable had I gone for this quadrant a little bit earlier. Because I think what the main issue for me was there were like 5 or 6 turns in which she had an extra 5k income. So she was able to just keep on building stuff. Whereas I wasn't, because she had Urban Blight. So she just popped that. And that tripled my reinforcements a little bit. So she could get whatever she wanted, especially battlecopters. The battlecopters were great for her because they increased her her unit count. That's something that you always want to, when you have a high production map like this, is you basically want to maximize your vehicle count as much as possible. So as many battlecopters as you can afford to pump out, basically. Now, you also obviously need a great tank base to ward off any anti-air your opponent will have. Potentially just intersperse a couple of medium tanks in the mix as well. Medium tanks are very good against anti-air, obviously. But yeah, the more of these, but every other turn or so, you basically want to be doing 2 battlecopters plus 3 infantry as much as you can. Potentially adding in recons when you need them. as well, because recons are very good for vision, and then decently good for wall breaking, because you can do recon plus infantry to break a wall, even at like 10% firepower, I think. So like recon into the infantry. Yeah, even with, oh wait, that's on that. But as you can see, 53 plus whatever the infantry gives, like you're obviously going to be able to take him out with just a single shot from the recons. So if you're able to hold that position, you can basically overwhelm it with a recon plus an infantry plus, well, recon plus 2 infantry, because you need the 1 recon to attack, you need the recon to soften up the infantry to finish off the infantry, and then another infantry to start capping. You can also do this with like more recons than that, but moving in with recons like this is a bit, especially against like cities, is a bit aggressive, and you're probably going to end up losing your recon if your opponent even has like a single tank in the area. Yeah, that should be about it for today. Obviously, this caused me to get a little bit further down in my rating, so this season's obviously going to be continuing for a bit, but whatever, that's fine. I don't really have time to do the... I mean, I've been meaning to do the live queue stuff, like a live stream with live queue stuff, but I actually have a job, so an actual job, so I'm kind of swamped with that and don't really have that much time to work on stuff. So I think I'm definitely going to be waiting until the end of this season for any live stream stuff. And then I've got my 2 Fire Emblem series that I'm planning on wrapping up as well by the end of the year, which is taking a bunch of my time as well on the weekends. So that's basically the summary for me. Do we have any tournament? I don't think we have any tournaments signing up right now. So, anyways, if you enjoyed, please go ahead and like and subscribe and all that upper nonsense, and then stay tuned in for more of this. I will see you guys in the next one.